it's going to be around. And generally, when people have been successful against terrorism, it really means that the terrorists and the people who are driving it figure out it is no longer worthwhile for them. So they quit for a while, and then a couple of decades later it starts again, and so on and so forth. But it's a tactic, and of course, as everybody knows, in this case, ideology and all that, religion plays a part, all of those kind of things. So it's a very complicated issue, and it's very important, I think, for all of us to continue to think about it, to continue to learn about it, and continue to take the kind of steps we have to take, not just as a nation, but really as a community of free world people who believe in each other, to try to reduce the situation down to where you can live with it. So with that, Yona, why don't I turn it over to you, and you can
thank you very much.
Take it from there and introduce our speaker.
Thank you very much, General, for your kind introduction. I just, before we introduce our distinguished speaker, I would like to call your attention to the new volume of General Gray. I know you wouldn't like what I'm saying, but I think it's an honor to mention this is the second volume of the early years from 68 to 75. The first volume was from 1950 to 67. This book was just published, and we provided you with the information on the volume. So again, the general, I think, background is well known, and his leadership is indeed unique, but the lessons are the important, I think, issues here, and we would recommend this highly. By the way, whatever royalties are generated, they are actually provided for the servicemen and their families. So with that, we're grateful to the General for taking time, his busy schedule, to join us and to participate in our discussion. We also distributed information about our distinguished ambassador, who contributed a great deal to the security concerns of Spain, the international community. I actually asked him perhaps to provide some background information about his family, simply because it comes from a generation, 4 generations actually, of diplomats, and his role as a diplomat, his last, I think, appointment was the ambassador of Spain in India and in that region, Nepal and Sri Lanka and so forth. And he served also in Parliament and in the academic community, and professionally as a lawyer, the media, etc. So I asked him to perhaps go through some of these experiences. As many of you know, we do have ambassadors forum. We had the honor also to invite the Spanish ambassador Pedro Moranes a few months ago, who spoke at our event. Now, before we asked Gustavo to speak, I have a obligation to mention that one of the distinguished, I think, colleagues from Spain, General Velarde, he came with a delegation from his center, nuclear fusion center at the Technical University in Madrid about a year and a half ago. Unfortunately, I just got the word that he died, and we are going to have an obituary in honor of his many contributions, not only to the Spanish atomic energy concerns, but internationally, the IAEA, and academically. So again, I distributed some information on his many contributions, but we will have also an obituary in our next publication. Now, finally, I would like to mention that in Geneva, we like to remind ourselves every month about some of the anniversary dates in order to learn some of the lessons. And just looking at the month of February, I just want to mention that this is the 20th anniversary of the Ben Laden fatwa, urging attacks against Americans wherever they are found. And actually earlier, back in 1993, the fatwa was in 1998, but in 93, as many would remember, and this is the 25th anniversary, the attack on the World Trade Center, the bombing, killing 6 and wounding some 1,000. And you know, of course, what happened afterwards with 9/11. Finally, since we're dealing with the role also of diplomacy, and we have a distinguished diplomat, I like to mention that back in 1980, in February, it's already the 38th, I think, anniversary, the M19 terrorists, they seized the Dominican Republic embassy in Colombia, and they held some 20 ambassadors and dozens of others at the time. So the diplomats are also obviously selected targets and victims. So with that, Mr. Ambassador, it's all yours.
Thank you so much. Thank